if this is about relationships, I definitely feel like, this is letting go of an ex. Hey, welcome to your 2023 February reading for your sun, moon, or rising sign. If this resonates with you, give the video a like, share it, turn on the notification bells, subscribe. I have a lot more new content that's coming out besides the monthlies. I'm doing new and full moon readings. I do live streaming. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the community page because I have a schedule up there of what's going on when. And if you're watching this on Rumble, then just follow all the links for everywhere to find me on social media. So otherwise, let's just get into it. Let's find out what's going on for you this month. Let's not waste any time. Hello, Leo, and welcome to your February 2023 reading. So we're going to take a look at the progression of the month. I'm sticking with this style of layout just because I'm still feeling it. So let's see what is, I'm feeling that card, that card, that card, this card, that card. Sorry, you guys. I was just talking about earlier how there's somebody who knows me really well who says that I'm just like, I remind them of New Girl, if you ever watched that show, because I sing to myself a lot. Anyway, enough with that. So let's check out what's happening in the progression of the month for you, Leo. So we start out the month and we have like interesting. Oh gosh, what sign also had this? I think it was Taurus. Same card at the beginning of the month. Interesting. So that makes me want to look at what's happening with the transits for you guys. Anyway, so we're going to take a look at the progression of the month. We're starting out the month with like, okay, we're coming in towards the end of the month in January. We had all planets come direct. And so now here we are. We are in a place where, sorry, I'm going to grab a sip of water. We're in a place where all of the energy is moving forward. So here's what we've got at the beginning of the month. It looks like you are weighing out some opportunities. You're weighing out either, and this could be people, but just trying to figure out like either how did these things come together or which things should I choose? These could be opportunities. Again, this could be people. This could be like which path, but also just trying to maintain a sense of like, this can also be about work-life balance, like trying to figure out, okay, like how do I balance the energy between my internal and personal world and my external world, and not really knowing exactly how to do that. That would make sense. Being a Leo, being ruled by the sun, being outgoing, being all the things, and trying to navigate like, okay, well, how do I create some balance with not just being output all of the time, but being more of like, how do I put the input? I don't feel like that's going to be for all of you. I think that some of you are actually just weighing out different choices that need to be made. I think that for some of you, this is part of a bigger decision. I feel like it's a bigger decision just because of the progression I'm seeing here. Once we get to the death card, I think that it'll be more apparent to you as well. But what I'm seeing here is that in the middle of the month, it's like there's a rite of passage that you're going through, right? The Four of Wands can feel really celebratory. Yes, for some people, it can be about like the joining together of two people, and it can also be about property and acquiring property, and about vulnerability and transparency and feeling safe, all these different kinds of things. But I'm feeling like this is more about like a rite of passage, like you stepping from one level into the next. So if you're talking about, if we're looking at like relationships, right? If we're examining, choosing between different people or something like that, then we're looking at, okay, so how does this, how do I want to say that? So we're looking at like, okay, so do I move to this next level? Do we move in together? Do we like create a life together? Or maybe it's even earlier than that. Like, do we go from dating to monogamy, or to a more committed relationship that's open, or like however your relationship structure is? I don't really want to put people in boxes, but you know what I mean? So, and this can also go from like, rites of passage aren't just about significant masculine and feminine roles. These can also be about graduating from one part of our life, like going from your 20s into your Saturn's return. And Saturn's return is just one of the ones that's more well known, but there are plenty of other planetary archetypal aspects that would be like, okay, I'm moving into this next level, this next stage of my life. Like I'm going from it reminds me of like Saturn in a way, although this is not a Saturnian card. It reminds me of just like oh, how do I take more responsibility? How do I choose to step into this next level? Rites of passage usually require like an acknowledgement of what it takes or what we're moving into or what we're integrating, right? Like there's like another integration of a next level that we're bringing, we're bringing into ourselves, and we're moving with that, we're integrating that and trying to move that to like blend it together and move together as a whole, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I see sometimes pictures in my mind, and like the communication of them isn't always as clear as I would like them to be. So I feel like that wasn't as clear, but maybe it is. So then we move into the end of the month, and I think that it's made clear. Like you're hemming and hawing, making a decision, trying to decide between things, moving into a next level, that kind of rite of passage, or the acquisition, right? Like this, again, this could be acquiring property or things like that, right? But there's a progression that's happening here, and it's like, okay, I think that it makes it very clear what there is that needs to be let go of. The thing with the death card is like death, here's a really great part of the symbology of the card of death, is that in the background you see between the towers here that there is a rising of a new dawn, right? And while it can be really maybe cheesy or just overused, the dawn of a new day, the making room for something new by letting things go, those all took on or they spread like rapid wildfire because of a reason, right? There was some truth to it. And the thing is that when you clear out and make space, and even though you may need to grieve what it is that you're letting go of that doesn't serve you anymore, and this doesn't just mean people, projects, a place you live, whatever, this can also mean your beliefs, your ideas about the world, your perspectives. So don't let it just be, about the physical world. This can also be about your more internal world. But there are things that are no longer serving you. And when you let that go, you clear out a space that allows you to have a refreshed, because the dawn is about that refreshing kind of view, it's that refreshing perspective. You can step out into the world in a new way. When you think about the sun is about how we radiate and how we explore and how we move out into the world. And it's like you have more freedom and access to your will, your identity, your ability to move in the world when you let go of the things that have been weighing you down. So the things that no longer fit, you need to let go of that. And that's what's coming through, towards the end of the month. And I think it's going to be made clear again because of like the first part of the month. If this is about relationships, I definitely feel like, this is letting go of an ex, or realizing that as you're coming into like, oh, I recognize what I really want is to move from this kind of relationship that or like situationships where, or flirtationships where I don't really take anyone seriously, to like maybe you start looking for someone or some people that are a part of what you want to create for yourself, that feels like more structured or feels like there's more grounding or rootedness in it, right? And so like whatever that is, I'm just trying to give you guys, I try to give you guys as many examples as I can so that you have an idea of how you can apply it to your life. When we look at the challenge that we have here, we have the alchemist. That's an interesting challenge. And then we have your spiritual advice is the moon. Interesting. And I feel like this is so aligned here with what's happening, right? Like, okay, we'll get to that. I'm just geeking out. So let's just start with the alchemist. So when we're looking at what feels what's going to come up as a challenge, I think, is that you're going to feel like, oh, I don't think I can really create what it is that I want to create. And I don't have everything I want. Like, I don't have all the things that I want to create the thing that I want to create, whether it's a relationship or a project or whatever. Again, you apply it to whatever it means for you in your life. But it's like, it's this feeling of, oh, I don't think I can, I don't think I have, I don't, or not even, I don't think I can have everything I want or need. It's more like, I just don't have it the way that I want it. The circumstances are not, all together, and the way the elements are not coming together in a way that is like what I would want. And so what you need to actually be looking at is that you have everything you need, you know, or that you're in a space where you're like, I don't know if I can like do this. I don't know if I can create the thing I'm wanting to create. Like maybe I can't, I'm not really sure. And just having a sense of self-doubt and not thinking that you're capable of doing this. But you are fully capable of doing this. What it's going to require though is we see the moon card is showing up here for you. Right. And the moon card is definitely about like what is done in the shadows will come to light, right? Like, or what we sweep away into the shadows will eventually come to light. And you cannot keep sweeping things into the dark corners of your psyche and the recesses of your mind and your heart for all time. That shit will bubble up at some point. And often it's when we face and deal with those things, the things that feel terrifying, the things that rock our world, the things that make us feel like we tremble or quiver or are you know, like it creates anxiety or whatever it is. Those things often when we face that is what allows us to really move forward with tons of energy, right? Like when we've cleared all that shit out, when we've been able to face what's there, our wild nature and our domesticated nature coming together, when we're able to face the things about ourselves that feel unwield or what is the word I'm looking for? Unruly. When things that feel unruly and that we have no control over and that feel really shadowy, right? Like these wild primal aspects of ourselves. And then we have like our more, you know, like domesticated selves, the ones that we've trained ourselves to function in society in a certain way. And so when we see this card come up, especially in terms of like your advice and like how you can be moving forward, what we see here is like, okay, you know, if you do the work, right? This is diving into the underworld, right? Not all, I will say maybe more Sag than any of the other signs, but so maybe not necessarily so much for Leo, depending of course on like your natal placements, but you know, it's like you want to stay up in the positive and the like the happy and the living authentically and just like bursting your heart into the world and being like courageous and like having fun and all the different things that are like that feel good. But there's a time to face shit, you know? And if you can do this, especially now with what we've got going on astrologically, if you can do this now, then I think that especially now through April and into like a little bit of May, you'll start to see like the train starts to like the wheels start to move faster. It's like right? Like if you can just get rid of that dead weight, right? Then you can really create some forward momentum. So just want to say that. The other thing that I will say here is that because, you know, this can apply for some of you, we could be talking about trusting your psychic and intuitive hits about things, right? Like needing to really bring in some of that flow with things. I don't think that's for everybody, but I do think that's for some of you. So that's what I've got for you. If this resonated, awesome. Please give the video a like, share it, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm putting out a lot more content. There's a bunch of astrology stuff that's going to be on the horizon. Check the community tab if you're looking at this on YouTube so that you can see all of the events for February, or go join me on Instagram because I do most of my lives currently. I'm doing them there. So I do free mini readings and things like that there. That's all on the schedule. And yeah, I'm hoping to start doing live streaming here on YouTube more probably around March. I was thinking February, but I think it's going to be more March. So thanks for being here, and I will see you guys next month. Bye.